Ladies and gentlemen, it is less than a couple of weeks until college football, and you know what that means. Today, we're going to be going over the 2023 Kentucky Wildcats schedule. We've went over Tennessee, and then we went over Texas A&M over the last couple of days. So I'm trying to wrap up the SEC, and I'm going to try and move on to the Big Ten or Big 12 as quick as possible because I got to really catch it up. Without further ado, let's get into it. Week 1, you have Ball State traveling to Kentucky. And this is September 2nd, and it'll be in Lexington. And man, do I feel bad for Ball State because they have 2 back-to-back away games at 2 SEC teams. Ball State has Kentucky week 1 and then Georgia week 2. That team is gonna, oh my god, that's gonna hurt. But I do have Kentucky winning here. I think Kentucky's gonna be able. I think Kentucky's got a better of a running game this season. Now that Will Levis is gone, I think they're gonna run the ball heavier. I don't remember specifically who the quarterback is. I know I talked about him when I ranked all the SEC quarterbacks. But right now, I do think that they'll be just fine. I do have Ball State winning this one. And then in week 2, you have Eastern Kentucky traveling to Kentucky. This is a FCS team, and it's pretty obvious who's going to win this one. It's going to be Kentucky, not Eastern Kentucky. It'll be the Wildcats. Although Eastern Kentucky Colonels is a really cool name, but I do have the Wildcats winning this one in another easy victory. Then in week 3, you have the Akron Zips traveling to Lexington, Kentucky. And in this one, it also should be obvious that Kentucky's going to win this one. It's Akron. When was the last time Akron's done anything of relevant? Like, the only reason I know Akron is because I'm in the old NCAA football games. I would rebuild them to a huge program. That's all. But so other than that, they're not a good team. I highly doubt they will ever be a good team. And give me Kentucky on this one. And then in week 4, you have Kentucky traveling to Vanderbilt in a really interesting SEC East game between, I mean, these teams have been playing every year for a very long time, and nobody really pays attention to it. But I feel like this year, a lot more people at least should pay attention to it. It'll be in Nashville. But I do have Kentucky winning this one and starting off their season 4-0 against Vanderbilt. Sorry, Vandy. And then in week 5, you have September 30th. You have the Florida Gators traveling to Lexington, Kentucky. The Florida Gators prediction was the first one that I did. If you haven't seen it, you should go check that one out. I do have Kentucky winning this one. I feel like Florida, I don't know. I feel like Florida's going to be able to pull off maybe a close game, but they lost last year. I don't know who won Florida Kentucky the year before in 2021. I'll have to make sure. In 2021, Florida Kentucky was won by Kentucky. Okay, so the last time Florida has beaten Kentucky, was it 2020? Yes, it was 2020. The last time they played was 2020, and I just see another win for Kentucky this season. Nothing against the Gators. They're my favorite team, but that's just how it is. Give me Kentucky. And then we had to get here, week 6, October 7th, at Georgia. Kentucky is going to come into this game 5-0. Kentucky is going to leave this game 5-1. Give me Georgia. I think a lot of people are going to be hyped over Kentucky just based off of their opponents. I mean, you have 3 very easy games, and you have Vanderbilt and Florida, which should be 2. I wouldn't say easy because it's SEC, but I think that they'll pick up those wins, and I think they're going to come to this game at least 4-1, at best 5-0, and Georgia's just going to wipe the floor with them. So give me Georgia. And then on October 14th, you have Missouri traveling to Kentucky in Kentucky's homecoming. Give me Kentucky here. This is the homecoming. Missouri hasn't really been a good team in like 9 years, since like 2014, when they won the SEC East, and I just don't see them starting now, especially with Georgia. I don't think they can even compete with Kentucky. Now, when these two teams played last year, Kentucky did beat Missouri, and it was in Missouri. So give me Kentucky to win this year. Then you have a bye week, and then you have October 28th. You have Kentucky playing Tennessee at Kentucky. Something tells me. Something tells me. Okay, obviously I have Tennessee winning this one, but something tells me Tennessee's going to run the ball a lot harder in this game than passing it. I feel like Tennessee's going to come into this game and start running the ball when Kentucky's going to expect the passing game. But give me Tennessee, and then Tennessee by a lot. And then you have November 4th, you have Kentucky traveling to Mississippi State. Now, Mississippi State, lost Mike Leach last year, and that was really sad to see. I think that since this game is going to be in Starkville, I do think Mississippi State's going to win this one. I think Mississippi State's going to be a little bit of an improvement, even though their record's not going to really show it. I do have Mississippi State going 7-5, but I do have Mississippi State to win this one in Stark Vegas. Then November 11th, you have an interesting game. I don't know when the last time these two teams played. Let me look it up. So the last time these two teams played was 2020, and when I mean these two teams, I mean Kentucky and the University of Alabama. And that was the COVID season. I kind of count, kind of don't count the matchups when I'm looking at the last time these two teams played, because the COVID season was different. There was a full SEC slated schedule, and that was you played a lot of out of division teams. The last time that these two teams played non-COVID year was 2016, and the last time Kentucky has beaten Alabama was 1997. That's a long time ago for all you old people. No, I'm just kidding. Give me Alabama to win this one. Alabama's Alabama. They're going to win the majority of their games. Alabama's going to come to this game, and they're just going to beat the brakes off of Kentucky. So do give me Alabama to win this one. And then November 18th, you have Kentucky traveling to South Carolina. I'm 50-50 on if I think South Carolina is going to be a good team this year or not. I'm leaning towards they will be decent, 8-4 maybe. I think that's respectable. But we'll get there when we get there. Give me South Carolina to defeat Kentucky. This is going to be in South Carolina. This is going to be a near end of the season game. This is the last SEC matchup for Kentucky, unless they make the SEC championship, and that won't happen. But you never know in college football. But give me South Carolina to win this one. And then in rivalry week, November 25th, you have Kentucky traveling to the Louisville Cardinals. Now, last season, when these two teams did play, the winner was Kentucky, 26-13. But last season, Louisville's record was 8-5, which is better than Kentucky's record last season. And I do think since this season it'll be in Louisville, I think it'll be closer. But I think without Malik Cunningham, I think Louisville's going to take a bit of a step down this season. Give me Kentucky to win the rivalry game in Louisville. So that has been my Kentucky SEC schedule predictions. I have them going 7-5. I think I said 7-5. I'll have to check in editing. I'll correct it if it's not 7-5. But I think that's respectable for Kentucky. That's better than what they did last season. It's better than what they did last season, because last season they did go 7-6. They have an opportunity to go 8-5 with the bowl game. I think there's a possibility that they could maybe beat Mississippi State. Other than that, I think 7-5 is respectable for Kentucky. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great day. Make sure you follow my Twitter and Instagram. The names are in the description down below. And I will see you guys with a new video today around noon Central. maybe a little bit later, like 1, because that's when the AP poll drops, and I will be reviewing the AP poll when it comes out for the preseason.